Hello, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be looking at the contents of this box. That's right, it's a box. But what we've got in it is a JAMMIX. So this is a MISTer ITX motherboard, and yeah, let's get into it. So as you can see, it's came very well packed. Let's move it to one side. There we go. Look at this. Yeah, I've got the fans running, so background noise, I hope it ain't too intrusive. So what is a JAMMIX? Well, it's a really tasty ITX motherboard for a MISTer. That's right, it's for the MISTer, and it's got some unique features. Throwing all good anti-static sense out the window now. There we go. So here we can see the most striking feature is a fucking great connector on one side, and that is clearly for a jammer. So this motherboard here can turn a MISTer into a jammer ready arcade powerhouse, just like that. So you can whop it on here, you take this fan board off, your MISTer gets sandwiched in the middle, whop, instant ITX MISTer come arcade machine. You've got a 24-pin ATX connection here. It's a regular sort of connection. Everyone's familiar with that. Various other connections on the board. It's really nicely finished. It's in like a shiny black with a white silk screen, and a general gold fingers and stuff. But you can see that. I mean, you're not blind. So yeah, what we're going to do today is we're going to build this up. This board and all of my previous MISTer gear, barring one snack adapter I made myself, that'll be a subject of another video, that will, come from a guy called Ricardo Saraiva. I hope I don't get his name wrong. Or RETROSHOP.PT. Let's get the cards out. Now, anyone on Facebook who's had any dealings with the MISTer groups or anything should know Ricardo. Absolutely top guy. I mean, legendary sales performance with this guy. Everything you get from him is brilliant. I mean, I've been into the MISTer since it first started because I had the Mist, and everything I've bought has been fast, well packaged, and the one time I had a missing item, bam, he had it straight out in the post to me the next day. No messing around. So if you want anything to do with a MISTer, that's the first port of call. As always, I'll put links to this stuff in the notes. A nice ATX backplate. It's well made. I think it's made out of FR4, which is regular PCB material. Very nice. Now, also in here, a load of other little bits. At the same time, he sent me a dual 128 memory. The MISTer I've got's only got 32 in it, so yeah, superb. Now you get a bunch of JAMMIX accoutrements as well, IO cables and all sorts of stuff, and you'll see that when I build it up. So one of the other things in here, be careful with this, is there is a ribbon cable here. I don't want to tug on it either. Come on. Just dump everything out for a second. Look at this. Look at this. This is the level of detail they've gone to with this. You can actually break out your SD card, bam, to the back plate. Superb. And we'll come to that in a minute. So, how did this start? Well, I've got the 3D printed case for one of my MISTers. I've actually got more than one. And yeah, I wanted something better. It's the one you've seen on the last couple of videos. That's you know, it's got dongly wires hanging out of it, and that's one of the downsides to the MISTer is it ends up looking like a spider or octopus, because you're just hanging stuff off of it left, right and centre. So I wanted to make it more like a console is what I wanted. So we're going to actually take the MISTer out of this, and yeah, we're going to whop it into that. So I went on Facebook and I just put a question on there about the Ironclad, which is another ITX based sort of deal. And Ricardo come back and said, well, have you heard about the JAMMIX? And I hadn't. Now, the Ironclad doesn't have the Jammer IO connector down the side. It's just an ITX motherboard. And I thought some of the features I wanted on that were deal breakers. But after thinking about it and talking to Ricardo a bit on Facebook, it's actually better to go with this. And those two features were internal MT32 and 7 rather than 6 USBs. So, you know, you might think, wow, what's the difference with one USB? Well, it's like this. I'm going to put a hard drive in this, and I thought the extra USB would allow you to you know, save a USB port and use two that are on the front of the case, on the side of the case, or some shit like that. But realistically, what are you going to plug into it? Keyboard, mouse, gamepad, wireless, yeah, and maybe Bluetooth. Well, that's only 5. You got your hard drive is 6. Bang, that's all you're going to need. So yeah, realistically it turned out to be a bit of a non-issue, so I went with this one. And although I'm not going to use the ITX part personally, I do want it for going in a case, and I'll show you that next. So let's just put all this to one side. Comes with a very nice printed manual. Look at that. How often do you get something like this? Normally you get a PDF and that's it. So, where's my case gone? Here we go. This is a very battered looking box, and this is how it turned up. I thought, oh no, it's going to be bastardized. But no, it survived the post, and it's an ATX case. Sorry, an ITX case. And you can see the size of my hand. I'm only a little bloke, so, you know, this is a little case. Let's put this down. So I got this from AliExpress, and this was 30 quid delivered, I think. Unbelievable. It's aluminium, and not only that, it's thick aluminium. That's like 3mm thick. So it's, you know, it's got a nice brush finish. Lovely. So let's move the top plate out of the way a second. I'll get it out. Although it's got 2 USB ports externally, I shan't be using those. So this is the front of it. How about that? Now, I got this and I fitted these 3 switches in here myself. So I had to drill it, and what an absolute bastard that was. This front piece of aluminium here is 4mm thick. Right, I don't know how well that's coming out on the video, but damn, yeah. So drilling these was a bit of a mission. I nearly fucked it up, because the first one started wandering on the pillar drill, but yeah. Anyway, I've got these in here, and what I've done is I've just soldered 4 wires with DuPonts on to each one. So these are lit buttons, lit push to make it buttons, and I think it looks pretty good. See, also with a JAMMIX, what you get is a nice little touch. I'll show you that in a minute. Is a JAMMIX badge. That's also in a nice sort of brushed silver. That's going to look very nice on the front here. So yeah, this is going to be the MISTer, and that's the size of it. I mean, it's just tiny, absolutely tiny. Have I got my things behind me? No. So I thought I had a tape measure, but I don't. I have a ruler instead. How about that? We'll go old school on this fucker. There you go. Look, 200 by 200. That's tiny. So yeah, we're going to fit that into here, and yeah, we're going to build this up. So this is what I've got. The JAMMIX is what we're going to use. Let's go. Right, so we've got the old JAMMIX all laid out, and I've undone the fan board. So the first thing I did was, I noticed there's a 5 volt 3 volt free jumper on top of the fan board, and when you flip it over it says 5 volts. So I've set it to 5 volts, but it may well be set to 3.3 because that's enough to keep it cool. So it shouldn't hurt it either way. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in the USB like that. We're going to plug in Ethernet like that, and that's all out the way ready. So now we've got this little ribbon, a medium-sized ribbon, a large ribbon, and let's move that over the side there. I don't want nothing happening to that. Not quite sure how we're going to mount that yet. So we're going to take our MISTer, and it doesn't look like you get mounts that go on top of these, so I think you've got to reuse your old ones. So what I'm going to do is just undo this this board. There we go. So again, all the stuff in this case came from Ricardo. There we go. So I'm going to drop that in there like so. How is it when you want yeah, that's better. When you want a bolt to drop, it never does. Right, come on it. Get the fucking hand walk. Come on. There we go. Nice. So what we can do now is just take this off. There we go. That should come off, but I don't want to give it any Ned's head because it is attached to the DE10 underneath it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slightly bend them out, lift them out of the way, and then I can get access to the ends just to give it some upward pressure. There we go. It's just on an IDC crimp, so lovely. And there's the naked MISTer underneath. Oh yeah. Right, so it looks like I'm going to have to, I'll tell you what, the first thing is get these, stupid idea that was. Right, I have to get these posts out. Now, it's been a long time since I built this, but I think they're just screwed into the plastic. I don't think there's any inserts in there. It's only fairly recently I've been using inserts. They're really good, but I've got a special tool that you can put into a soldering iron, and I got a Audi soldering iron station for Christmas, and it fits that perfectly. A special copper straight piece that goes in the end, so you can press them in properly. If you try and use an iron to press in an insert into plastic, it tends to cool rapidly around the iron, so you end up dragging it. Anyway, we digress. So this thing's nearly out. I got my DE10s when they were sensible. Back before this silliness started with the prices, because everything's just gone stupid. There's always that one, come on. Come on. Right, so that's all out. Yep. There's a DE10. I'm going to take this opportunity to drop into 128. Looks like I'll have some spare bits after this. There we go. This side faces outward. Nice. So there we have it. So clearly this is going to go towards the back, like so. And we are going to reuse these standing posts. They were supplied, they're just screwed in over here. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep all this stuff together, and I'm just going to move that to one side, flip that over. Normally I'd be a bit concerned with these being transported like this, but the packaging was so good and there was so much of it, it just weren't getting damaged. They could have played football with it for all I know on the way over. But like I said, whatever you get from Ricardo, it's always bang on. Packaging, everything. I think that's probably something to do with the community as well. It's a small community of people that actually give a shit. Well, relatively small, it's quite large, you know. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to put them up there. Nice. Alright, so this is going to fit there. Brilliant. And we're just going to drop these in here. Just going to do these up finger tight for the time being. It's amazing, when we were all younger and we had our computers, you know, you always thought at some point or another you wanted a different machine, no matter which one you had. Of course, if you had a Commodore 64, you thought that a hell of a lot less than if you had a bloody Spectrum or an Amstrad. Well, trust me, if you had an Amstrad, you wanted any other machine. But anyway, again, I digress. With a MISTer, you've now got that. My first machine was a Dragon 32, and trust me, if you think an Amstrad shit, you want to try using one of them. But still, I had many happy hours with it until I got my Commodore. Okay, they're all done up nicely. It's all in position. Nice. Let's have a look what we got here. So these pins will clearly line up on the sides. This goes to the back for power. So we need to make sure the pins are lined up. Okay. Before I do that, I just want to eye something up there. Oh shit. No, don't know then. Okay. Right. So I've just pushed that down, that's no problem. What I'm thinking of is this. I was just wondering how this mounts, because it must go in that where my chip card is there, and I'm not sure what it mounts to. It might mount there. Well, it mounts there. Look at that. Well, right, that's something else then, isn't it? Dun dun dun. So the question is, does it mount under or over? If that's there, that will go there like that. It's got to mount like that, hasn't it? Oh, superb. Okay, I'm just going to go and look for some fixings. I'll be back in a minute. Right, so here we are back again. I've just been and drilled these holes out, and I'm not sure if this add-on board is experimental or mainstream yet, but I'm going to fix it with plastic fittings, and the holes didn't quite take an M3 fitting, so I've just had to drill them out. I think they may have been M2.5 to be honest with you, so I can use plastic fittings to go through there. It's definitely supposed to be M3 on this small ribbon adapter. There we go. And actually going to come through from the bottom here. As this is the D10 side. So yeah, I'm going to use these plastic nylon fittings, because if they do drop out, they're going to land square here on a D10, and you know what'll happen? It'll blow the arsehole out of something. So I'm just not even going to go there. We use plastic fittings here. Jobs are good. Got M3x6 bolts on. That's going to be plenty enough to hold this. Plenty. Anything's probably an overkill. There we go. Yeah, so there we go. Look at that. Now I'm not using any tape or anything, but you don't need to. That's holding that super nice. Let's just make sure that they're not spinning. Yeah, oh, look at that. The good thing about plastic fittings is they've got a bit of give to them, so when you go a little bit tight and then you relax, it still has bite, you know. It's got it by the bollocks. But yeah, that's not moving at all. That's a nice fitting. And as you can see, that just bends around there to go in into the SD slot. So now I can offer this up like I did the first time. I must admit, it probably would have paid to have a look at the instructions beforehand as well, but it's half the fun, isn't it? Okay, well, it's not actually complicated. It looks like there's some keyed connectors there on the top, or a key connector, so that'll have to go around the right way. Now, just going to make sure that these are, oh yeah, yeah, there we go. Just give them a gentle Yeah, they're nipped. Lovely. So when the JAMMIX was shipped, this board was the other way round. So when you take it off, just gotta make sure you orientate it right. You can't really get this wrong, to be honest with you. It's fairly straightforward and it's common sense. The power jack's going to go on the back, innit? Otherwise it'll be in the middle of the case. Speaking of power, that's something good about this board. It's got all over voltage protection and all rail protection actually. It's got an amplifier on it, a nice I2S amp. It's got it can output to jammer and analog at the same time. Very nice. So there we go. That all looks pretty pucker. So now that that's in position, what we can do is we can just slacken these off. Don't go crazy and fucking monkey fist them, just slack them off, and just so you can get your fingers on it. There we go. Just hold that in one place and then look at that. Look at that. Nice. So these can go back on, and that's how the back plate's held on by the look of it. Just through these two. Where's that bit? Where's that bit? Make sure that's all lined up and fitting well. Again, when you're doing them up, no need to monkey fist them. Okay, that looks good. Give them a little nip. There we go. Nice. There's my SD. That will naturally go in the back there like that. He says. Nice. Make sure that's all hunky-dory. Very nice. So now we've got to plug that inside there. Admittedly, I probably could have done that a bit easier, couldn't I? There we go. In you go. Look at that, and it's in. So the SD card, it's a little bit stiff, but I'll sort that out. There we go. Yep. Nice. Right, so that's all in. Clearly the Ethernet's a doddle. I mean, all you've got to do is just poke that down and then Nice. That one goes in there like so. Very nice. Look at that. So this one's keyed. So you need to know which one's the top, and that'll be that one. You can see it's already nicely labelled pin 1. The bottom will be also... Right, just gotta get that on there like so. It's hard to do on camera and assemble it properly. Right, so that goes on there like that. This one's also marked pin 1, so happy days. We can just plug the top one in first. Plug the bottom one in. Very nice. And the same thing goes for the big boy on the end. It's going to be a bit stiffer to do though, so just try and give it some support when you do it. Make sure you don't misalign the pins, because that won't end well, I don't think. I think it's fully on and in. Look at that. That's very neat. So these holes here that originally had the metal posting that I needed, this is actually for mounting a hard drive if you wanted to. How about that? Now I like using these drives. These are Toshiba Canvios. So I've got to mount this myself in there. That'll be on I'll make a 3D printed mount for that, so not really worried. Okay, so this is the original MISTer, or it was. It's now spare parts. You can move that out of the way. Now the 3 buttons and the 3 LEDs on here, they're replicated on this board in a really nice feature. So you've got a pin header over here. So you've got 4 buttons and 3 LEDs. And that's the reason why I drilled the 3 holes in the front of the case. So let's just move that in now. There we go. Look at that. Lovely. Right. So this comes with a case, so you're gonna have to wedge this out of the way a minute. Now I've just heat shrunk these. There is smaller pieces of heat shrink underneath them for each individual core, but I've just put a bit on top because I wanted to give it some rigidity. And that is it. That's how it goes in there. How tasty is that? Brilliant. Right, so we're just going to work out some fixings and yeah, in a bit. Right, so it's only 4 fixing bolts. They're in. I've hooked up these front LEDs and the power switch. That's all in. Everything is ready to rock and roll. I've even put on the JAMMIX logo. I don't know if you can see this very well, but it's in the same sort of brushed appeal as this, and it looks really good, really good. So let's get some juice on it. Now you've got to be careful when you're powering up the back. You want to use the main one or the DE10, that won't hurt it. But if you're using like a ATX or a Pico PSU and you've got a barrel jack, do not be plugging in one of these, because you'll well, you'll blow the whole arsehole out of it. So yeah, let's plug it in there. And look at that. Look at that. I don't know how well that's coming out. I was a bit worried that the lights wouldn't light up enough, because there are resistors on board as well. I didn't know that at the time, so I fitted resistors to the back of the LEDs. But that's nice. That's quite a nice glow. You can see the breathing effect going on there. Very nice. I like that. I like that a lot. I didn't deliberately go red, white and blue. I just thought they're nicer LED colours than what you usually get. Whereas there's virtually no sound coming out of it, unlike the fan that I didn't turn down on the floor. That's better. So yeah, this is almost silent. I could make it quieter by putting it on the 3V 3, but no, it's fine. The soft power button does different things. I don't know which one. Do you hold it for it to turn off, or not really sure? I'll have to read the manual at some point. No. No, I've got to read the manual. It does shut it down. I don't know how long you got to hold it down for, or whether there's an INI thing to add to the MISTer. This is using the same SD card as it was when I showed the last video, so none of this is really a problem because I'm going to be using a power supply with a switch on it. Alright, let's hook it up to the telly. Make sure I get a signal. So there we go. There we go. Okay. And there it is. We've got a signal. Here we go. We're all ready to power up. So the soft power button's got a few modes on it. So if I just press it, there you go, it's coming on. You can see the lights coming on now. They do look cool, those illuminated buttons. Look at that. Nice. So we're all powered up. Let's just plonk the camera down. There we go. And yeah. So if you hold the button down for 500 milliseconds or half a second, it resets the core. 1 second it resets on a harder reset, and I think 4 seconds it turns off, something like that. So yeah, with no other setting changes to the INI, this is the same SD card. It looks like it's all pucker. Got utility. I mean, obviously this should. I don't know what it's doing there. Something or other. I guess it's seeing a lot of errors. So it starts off at a higher frequency and counts the errors coming down. Find the top speed of the RAM. Oh look, there's only a couple there. It's probably about 140. There you go. It's got it. Well, how about that? So let's try the oh yeah, that reset it. Let's choose a different chord. Right, so naturally it's got to be the 64. Now I've just chucked some stuff on here to test. Boom. So 1920 1080. I've got this set to 50 Hertz. Obviously living in Power Land, that's the one it is for me. Oh yeah, nothing in there. One load V4. Well, we all know that's just awesome. Right, there's CRTs. PRGs. Bloody hell. Crunched. Look at that. Superb collection the one load is. Boom. For me, this is just awesome. Look at that. Tune. Anyway. Yeah, so this consoleized MISTer is just absolutely fabulous, because it's what you wanted from the MISTer in the beginning but didn't realise you want it, if that makes any sense. And I think this is better than the Ironclad because it doesn't block your snack port. Now, if you're not going to use snacks, you might end up wanting an MT32 Pi as a minimum, and I can just, and I have, so I love that bit of kit. So I can just plug that in the back. This here was a 64 snack that allows you to connect to IECs. Brilliant. Yeah, it's just everything you want. Once I get my hard drive mounted in there and it's all connected internally, it's just going to be a super cool bit of kit, and it'll have memory for everything I want to keep in there. It's having that machine that you wanted when you were younger that could just transform into anything else, and you could finally have it. The case looks nice and it's inexpensive. Like I said, I'll put links to that and these 8mm buttons, which are really nice as well. Like I said, good luck drilling the front. It's bastard hard. Yeah, go slow with that drill, because otherwise your bit will start bending. But as I said earlier, the ITX board is a perfect accompaniment to the MISTer, because it actually gets rid of all the crap, and you've got a nice clean machine, especially if you want it in your front room or something. Let's try that. There you go, look, quick thing, instant core reset. How about that? The soft power is a massively nice addition to it. Oh yeah, I know. Tell you what we'll do then, we'll mount that. Don't know which one is my there. This is the one that comes with the load all thing. I've not really used Dolphin DOS before. Nice. So this is exactly what I wanted it to be. I strongly suggest that if you're after a nicer MISTer setup, crack on and get a JAMMIX. And definitely, if you're after any bits for the MISTer, go and see MISTer, and that's Ricardo Saraiva. It'll hook you up. He's a nice guy. He'll answer all your questions. It's been brilliant for me over the years and consistently good. You just can't ask for more than that. So yeah, I'm going to make a 3D printed cradle for the hard drive. I've got an internal USB thing for the internal header, so it's all going to sit inside nicely, and it just looks the tits. The soft power button is a great addition, really good. I've turned the fan down to 3V 3, and it does make a difference to the sound. You can't hear it at all. Once you do that, it's gone. So yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. D10 doesn't really get that hot. I've made my own power supply. I was going to use a Pico PSU. For a lot of people that'd be good. Just, you know, get a decent quality one. For me, I'll build an external power supply. That's just the way I am. And yeah, it just works. Happy days. So cheers to Ricardo. Don't forget to check out the other great YouTube channels. They're in the description as well. That's 8-Bit Retro Refix, Retro4U, Josip's Retro Bits, and YARC. And also this Sunday, 7:30 PM, we're having a Retro Repairers like a live stream where we all talk crap for an hour and a half, and you can ask questions, and it's a good laugh. So pop along. Yeah, all that's left to say is stay well, have a good one. Later.